In this episode, we help a 19-year-old buyer with his very first vehicle.
And we advise a viewer with a blinking engine light on his beloved vehicle.
We look at whether or not a VW Golf 7.5 TCR GTI is a future classic car.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide, where we do our best to provide you with useful advice, whether it relates to buying, selling or maintaining a vehicle. If you have a question for the team, you can send it to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za. And please include as much information as possible and include a great picture of yourself.
And joining us in the studio to help us answer some of those burning automotive questions are two familiar faces, Sam De Fonseca from the car scene and Mike Bradshaw from Top Gear Auto. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thanks.
So nice to have you guys in the studio.
For having us.
Especially you, Mike. Give us all that sewer rat
Ginger
information.
Ninja. Just let us know.
Okay. All right. Let's get into our first question. It comes from 19-year-old Yabez. Yabez hails from Cape Town and wants to purchase a used vehicle in the price range of about 50 to 80,000 Rand. He's currently working about an hour and a half from home and will be driving to and from work. He's interested in the following vehicles: a 2011 Ford Fiesta, a 2014 Chevrolet Cruze, or a 2008 VW City Golf. He also wants to know, since the car market is falling in this year, is now a perfect time to purchase a used vehicle.
The car market is falling?
I don't know where he got that information from, but
Second-hand
it's
car
not from
market.
Buyer's Guide.
Gone through the roof. So there's three cars. What do you think, Sam?
I read that car market is falling and I was like, it is?
It's not.
I can totally understand why the Chevrolet Cruze is tempting, because it has depreciated like an absolute brick, and at that price it's a pretty good value for money car. But I don't know, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. The availability of GM parts, if something
You
goes
should
wrong.
leave that Cruise way
Leave it alone.
out of
Can
it.
I start swearing now or just take a breath?
Yeah,
Get the Fiesta.
Yeah,
Get the Fiesta.
get the Fiesta.
you'll keep it longer than he will keep the Golf one.
He will, yeah. The Golf will get stolen.
No, the City Golf will get stolen in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Well, besides the theft story of it, it's got no power steering, no aircon. It's got, well, it'll have drop suspension, of course.
Of
it's in
course.
Cape Town, yeah.
And a 6
Drop-
subwoofer.
Yeah. So I mean,
It'll have 22-inch rims, guys.
there's no comfort with that car, and I know they're cheap to run, but it's so old, it's going to fall to pieces, going to cost you a fortune.
Yeah.
Go with what Sam says. Go buy that Fiesta. 2011 Fiesta. It's a good-looking car. I think I've mentioned them before on the show. Don't buy the 1-liter turbo version. Just buy like a
Normal
1.4 or 1.6 versions. The engines are very, very strong. They last a long time. They're fuel efficient. They're great cars. And it's a nice car to drive. It's a very, very nice car to drive.
Mike, what would you suggest? Something else, maybe? 50 to 80K?
I've got to go back to my go-to car in that price range.
Suzuki Swift.
Well, if you can find one.
Yeah, that price range.
That's also
Virtually impossible.
Yeah.
But I'd go back with the
the
Honda.
Honda Jazz.
The Honda Jazz. Yeah. The problem is you find a Jazz with loads of mileage on in that sort of price, with 200,000 Ks on it.
More.
But it's not going to let him down.
Yeah. Just put a CVT.
Yeah. What about something like an older Hyundai Getz?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go, yes.
Or
Honda
Picanto,
gets-
then, if you're looking at a Getz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Getz is a bit bigger than
Bigger,
the
yeah.
Picanto, yeah.
It's such a difficult price range.
Yeah, it's hard to find stuff.
You are in a minefield, and again, the crystal ball, there is no such thing.
With this price range, you either find a unicorn or you get hammered.
Well, don't underestimate your own network.
Yes.
Friends,
Yes.
family, colleagues. Put it out there. And you might find a car that granny's got rid of, or son is now emigrated or gone to varsity or whatever the case may be, and there's a family car. That's where I would go first,
Yeah.
before going into the labyrinth of that price range.
Because you could get an 80 grand car, you could get something really good and you'll be lucky, or you could buy an absolute dog.
Oh.
Yeah, so you've got to really be careful with that, because 50 to 80,000 Rand, unfortunately nowadays, doesn't buy you a hell of a lot.
And I think also, going back to Mike's advice that we did earlier, where he said, go to a reputable dealer.
Yes.
Even if you see a Fiesta on Facebook Marketplace for 40 grand, and at the reputable dealer it's for sale
Not
at
many
60
reputable dealers sell those cars for 40 to 80 grand.
grand. No,
Yeah.
That's the problem, yeah.
which
Those
you'll
are normally
find.
the guys that are selling cars out of the back of their garden and things like that. Yeah, so it's difficult to find them. Okay, we're going to move on, because Vincent's son has a VW Polo 1-liter TSI Comfort Line with 32,500 kilometers on the clock. The motor plan expires in May 2023. Now, his son works in Korea and does not expect to do more than about 10,000 Ks a year for the next 2 to 3 years. Is there likely to be a failure in those years to come? And also, please advise on a suitable service plan or maintenance plan or an extended warranty. Should he even bother if he's only going to be doing 10,000 Ks a year? Not a lot of mileage on the car, Mark?
I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bother, but that's me. if they are nervous, then most certainly look at an aftermarket maintenance or
extend the
or
plan.
extended warranty.
32,500 kilometers.
But don't just go to Volkswagen, because Volkswagen's plan, as with any OEM, is flippin' expensive.
Yeah.
Have a look at a reputable aftermarket warranty company that also offers service plans, and do your homework.
And most of the dealers' ones that you buy are underwritten by those same companies as well, aren't
Precisely, and that's why it's cheaper to buy
directly
from them.
they? Yeah. Go to the farmer, not to the shop.
Exactly. So I wouldn't spend money on it.
Yeah.
But if you are of the nervous persuasion, most certainly look at an aftermarket warranty.
Sam?
Yeah, it's got such low mileage.
Yeah.
Such low mileage. 32,000 Ks. Car's going to be fine. I would roll the dice.
Yeah, I would. I don't think you're even going to roll the dice.
No.
Because if you're only doing 10,000 Ks a year and you're away, like your son's most of the time away, he's in Korea. And if you do buy an aftermarket warranty, you're going to get 2 years, correct?
Yeah.
So you're going to get 2 years, or maybe, in this case, he's only going to do 20,000 kilometers. The chances of something going wrong with a car that's done 32,000 Ks, if you do 20,000 Ks over the next 2 years, it's only 50,000 Ks. Those little 1 litre engines are actually quite strong. They're not that problematic.
Yeah, they are strong.
So I would say don't waste your money on one.
Just
you're not going to
service it on
take a
time.
risk.
Service it, maintain it,
Yeah.
do it properly. And
See, even servicing and maintaining,
Yeah,
the
you
service
do-
intervals on that car is every 15,000 Ks.
You're doing
So
a
in those
service
2
a year.
years,
yeah, exactly.
basically you're only going to service it once.
Yeah, so don't skip it if you haven't
Yeah,
got the
just
mileage.
Pay for the service, because it must probably be like a $2,000 service as opposed to like a 15,000 Rand warranty. So I think we're all in agreement. It's too low mileage to worry about that, and you're not doing a lot of mileage. If you said we're doing 50,000 Ks a year for the next 2 years, then we'd say, yeah, look at it.
You know,
But you're
guys,
not.
I agree with everybody here, and I think that's the way to go. But I also agree with Mike. If you have the nervous persuasion, and we don't want to get an email next year, someone telling us, "You idiots advised me not to take a warranty. Guess what happened to my car? Eh? My gearbox is now shot."
Yeah, well,
So,
that's, yeah.
You know, if you really have the nervous persuasion, as Mike says, and you're really a warrior, go get yourself an aftermarket warranty. And as Mike said as well, don't go to the OEMs, because it's still underwritten by the aftermarket guys.
Yeah.
So go to the market, you said.
Go to the farmer,
not the
not
market.
the shop.
Okay. Stay tuned, because after the break, we advise a viewer with a blinking engine light on his beloved vehicle.
A blinking light? We look for a bulletproof bakkie for a family of 7. Our next viewer, Mnuleki, is a proud owner of a trouble-free 2012 Ford Focus that was bought 3 years ago. About a month ago, the car showed him an engine fault light while driving, and when taken for a diagnostic, the workshop cleared the error message and said, "Nothing was wrong, that's fine, he can go on his way." A month later, the light appeared again. A round trip of 250 kilometers was made with the fault light on, and there were no issues. Mleki is wondering what the real issue could be and if this is a red flag for serious issues to come. Should we handle that, Siggy?
Let's go for it, Adam.
Okay, first of all, easiest thing to do there is to take it back to the workshop, let them read the fault code to see exactly what it is. Sometimes what happens, you can clear the fault code, the light will go away. But with the car driving and the management system recognizes, hang on, there's an issue, it waits for that issue to get to a certain parameter, and then it'll put the light back on. It is obviously something that is quite minor. It could be something simple like an intake air leak or something along those
It
lines,
could be
which puts the light on.
your oxygen sensors. You know,
It
maybe
can be,
oxygen sensors get a little damaged.
Most probably 1,000 things.
Yeah, it's a stored fault, and then you can clear a stored fault, but it'll come back because you didn't resolve the actual problem.
Yeah. So the
So-
thing to do is to actually go back to a workshop, let them read what the fault code is, mention that it's been cleared before, and then you'll find what the fault code is and get that rectified.
Or
It
replace the part or whatever.
It doesn't necessarily mean that there is
The car's going to
red
fall
flags and the car's going to fall to pieces. It may be a very simple and easy repair, and that applies not only to Ford Focus but all cars. I'm sure you get them in lots with warning lights on and you go in and it's something a little silly that needs to get changed, and that fixes the problem. Because that one light reads maybe 1,000 different faults in the system. So it could be anything from an air leak to a major catastrophe.
I like the fact that you mentioned it just could be an air leak, and regularly it's something small.
Yeah.
Often it's that light flashes in your face. It's merely to scare you into taking the car into the workshop to make sure it's nothing major.
I've always said to my clients, you know, that little orange light that comes on the dash, it's if they had to put a light for every single fault that could be on the car, you know, your car would be like the space shuttle. You'd have this computers in front of you with every little fault that could happen. So don't worry about it. It won't be anything too serious. Pop it in, get them checked out, and get it repaired.
You know, if the car's still running, I tell my wife, don't worry about it. It's just telling you your engine is still there. It hasn't fallen out of the car yet.
Check engine. I
Check
check
Check engine. Check engine. Yeah, it's there. Close the bonnet.
Okay, guys, enough fun at my wife's expense. Avumilia's mother has just retired and is looking to buy her first car. He has advised his mum to buy a second-hand bakkie for the following reasons. They are a family of 7. They live in rural Eastern Cape with terrible roads, and they often buy heavy products of groceries. The budget is 250,000 Rand, but can be stretched to 300,000 Rand, and the bakkie should have an automatic transmission. Mike, is this good advice to his mum? And let me tell you, Eastern Cape roads, I don't think she should buy a car.
Well, I was thinking of alternatives, and there are none. It must be a bakkie.
It must be a double cab or
a bakkie. But in that sort of price range, you are in a minefield as well. You can buy the million-kilometer Toyota, but they do get stolen quite frequently. Or you can go with, my favorite would be probably an Isuzu. The Isuzu is also a million-kilometer engine and less on the radar.
You know, I have a problem with there being 7 people and you use a double cab bakkie. I think it should be something bigger.
No, some people walk and some people get into the bakkie. It's as simple as that.
A Mahindra Scorpio.
I've got Mahindra as my second choice after these.
A Mahindra pickup or a Mahindra Scorpio?
Yeah.
Either one of those two.
Yeah.
Those are great options because you'll get a newer one than you will get. Because in that segment, you can get Ford Ranger, you can get the Isuzu, you can buy a Toyota and keep it for a day or two before somebody nicks it.
You buy a Mitsubishi Triton.
If
buy
you
a
can,
Navara.
if you can find one at that price,
range,
it's very, very difficult. So there's loads of Rangers, loads of Isuzus, but they'll all be over 150,000 kilometers. 2 vehicles I think would be great, which are both very strong, but they're simple and basic, and that's maybe what you need down there. Sam has mentioned the one, the Mahindra, either the Scorpio, which you can get a Scorpio 7-seater, or you go for something like the Mahindra pickup bakkie. And the Eastern Cape, there's tons of those Mahindras around.
Yeah.
So you'll get good backup and everything from there. And then one other, it's a very basic bakkie, but very, very solid, is the NP300. You get an NP300 double cab with the 2.5 turbo diesel motor in, which if you maintain it properly will do 500,000 Ks easy.
Okay.
Because it's very basic, you're not going to pay a lot for it. If you're not worried about what the car looks like, but you want reliability, their suspensions are strong.
The hard body, basically.
Yeah, NP300
gentlemen.
hard body, yeah.
How about a P series?
Well, you won't find one for 250,000 Rand.
300K, you'd get a good second-hand one.
In the Eastern Cape, I'm going for Mahindra
Yeah.
or MP. I wouldn't go
It's
for...
going to fall to pieces. The
You don't
Mahindras-
know that.
The Mahindras are built for Indian
Sam?
roads, like the poorest of conditions.
Yeah,
It will withstand anything you can throw at it. It's literally the bakkie you cannot break.
yeah.
I'm sure you can, but I mean,
We
not supposed to be able to.
yeah, you can break anything, but I quite like. I know what you're saying. It's a great bakkie, that the
P
P series, but in the price range to find something for 300,000, you're pushing a budget, and then she'll get something which has done a lot of mileage. Even if you went for like those GWM bakkies that came
the
out, the
Steed.
Steeds and stuff like that,
Yeah.
very weak in terms of the suspension and stuff like that. So look at either for Mahindra or look for like an MP300, because there you're going to get your best bang for the buck. I don't think they're looking for anything fancy. They're looking for something.
Wasn't the
that's gonna-
NP300 zero-rated safety and all that?
So don't drive into anybody
It
else.
was.
Simple, man.
One of those cars wrote off my Lexus, an NP300, because it couldn't stop at a robot, and it went straight into my Lexus. So as soon as you mentioned that, I just got
No.
shivers. Just
Yeah.
having-
So there's a couple of options for you, and take a look at those and see what you can find. Okay, we'll be taking a short break, but when we return, we look at whether a VW Golf TCR GTI will become a future classic car.
We discuss why vehicles don't come with mudguards when purchased. Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Nevin has a Golf 7.5 TCR GTI with less than 30,000 kilometers on the clock. The vehicle is still in perfect condition with no aftermarket alterations done. He has noticed the price on similar condition and mileage vehicles which are holding a similar value as to when it retailed. Brand new, with some selling higher after about 3 years. He has also read in a reputable newspaper article that the car may be a future classic car. Will the 2020 GTI TCR be a classic, and would any of you gentlemen recommend holding on to it? Gentlemen, GTI, dime a dozen, two a dozen, but this particular one?
In 5 years, no. In 25 years, probably. I did some homework before we got here, and the old Golf GTR VR6. Back in the day, they sold for brand new 125,000 Rand. And now, if you're lucky, you'll get a decent one for 300,000 Rand.
Really?
But
Yeah.
We're looking at 28 years. You know, how long does he want to hold on to his Golf 7.5? The Golf R, all the GTRs, at some point, somewhere down the line, will be worth a lot of money. And what I like about this particular one, not so much that it's a TCR, but that it's original.
Yes, he's kept it in original condition.
Then he's on the right road for it to be worth something going forward. But right now, in the next 5 years, 8 years, I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's going to appreciate in price. It'll probably stay at the same level. And the reason why it has most likely gone up in price is because of the new GTI's price. So then all of the old ones tend to trickle up in price as the new ones come out. And also, Nevin must also remember, he's in the same boat as club sport owners. They're also there crossing their thumbs, hoping that their car goes up in value. And he's also competing against Club Sport S, which will definitely be a future classic.
So,
TCR,
I suppose you've got to look at it and say, if you took, he said it was 650,000 Rand for his car. If he took that 650,000 Rand and he invested it, and in 25 years, how much money would he have? In Bitcoin. In 25 years, how much money would he have? And how much would the Golf be worth then? I'm sure he'd make more money by investing it in wherever. But in saying that, I mean, if you look at Golf GTRs, even the original GTRs now, if you have a good, clean, standard one, they always sell very quickly and you get good money for them. You get market-related money for them. And something like a TCR, there's always a big fan group for GTRs. So it was a limited edition, only 300 made. So if you have that in standard and it's looked after, it will always retain its value.
it will.
You know, so if you want to know if it's a future classic, sure, every car will be a future classic.
No,
eventually.
don't say that. You see people holding on to their old XR3s and all that.
Try and find an XR3 now for, you know, you'll pay 200 grand for one. Because they're all, you know, it's what happens is when people get older, so like Sam now who's 20, when he gets to my age at 45, he'll look back and say, what did I want when I was 20 that I couldn't afford? Now I'm 45, I can afford to buy it.
Yeah.
And that's what pushes the market.
And never mind the fact that they won't make it again. TCR, in my opinion, in the 7.5, the TCR is the best of GTI. The best it's ever going to get. Because Golf 8 build quality became so-so. TCR has all the power. It's got the trick diff.
Yeah. It's a bit
marvelous.
like, you know, us guys with our kids now, we want to get the first car. And when we were young, it was cool to have a Beetle. Yo, let's buy our kids a Beetle.
No, you don't do that.
Rubbish, you know, garbage, pieces of junk you don't want your kids to drive in. But that's what happens when you get older. And oh, I wanted one as a kid. You forget how bad they were, and that will happen in the future as well. That's just what happens. Okay, we're going to move on now. Johnny wants to know why most new vehicles don't come with mud guards as standard. I think he's talking about mud flaps.
Yeah.
He bought a new Toyota Corolla Cross in November 2022, and when he asked the salesperson if the car comes with mud guards, the salesperson said, "No, can't have them." He had to import mud guards from Amazon to get it fitted. Is there a law or something that can force manufacturers to install these at the absence of mud guards result in windscreen chips and dirty doors? What do you guys think?
Outrageous.
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 Yeah, they should all of them come with those big truck ones.
Well, good luck. Let me know how that goes. Even at Discovery, you don't get mud flaps.
What is it there for? It's so that you can put the add-ons. What else can we sell this customer?
Yeah.
You need mud flaps. And he bought the vehicle in 2022 when they first came out. So I think most probably Toyota didn't have the option there, so he had to get them from Amazon. But now you'll find them all over the place. I'm sure you.
And Dharma does an aftermarket,
there will be.
That will
different
fit.
coloured ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even with little lights.
Color coded,
whatever
to
you
your,
want.
no, color coded to your car as well.
I do agree with him that a lot of these cars, they should come out as standard. But I think it's a cost-saving thing. I mean, even though, you know, they must probably cost $5 to make. But when, oh, hang on a second, sir, you want them for your Corolla Cross? No problem. It's whatever, $2,000. And you say, what? You know, I'll go to Amazon and
It's
buy
exactly that. It's
100%.
It's buying up.
Cost-saving,
Yeah,
yeah.
cost saving.
Cost-saving.
And how can we make an extra buck on our cars?
Well, you mentioned, yeah, it's a bit like, you know, the floor mats. Why don't cars come with floor mats, you know?
If
Why
you
don't
buy an iPhone, it doesn't come with a charger anymore.
Yeah, it's the same thing like talking about a phone. Why doesn't it come with a cover for the phone?
That's right.
Some of them come
Yes.
with covers, but they should come standard with a cover. Yeah, so it's just
What it
start
needs
a
to
big
is
glass.
drop it. Yes.
yes.
From dust.
There you go. I suppose it's just one of those added-on extras that you're going to have to pay for. And I suppose when you bought that car, you know, now, as I mentioned, now if you go to Toyota, I'm sure that they will have mudguards standard.
But still, it's preposterous.
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. The nerve.
Yeah.
You guys done?
Yeah.
Can we move
We're
on?
having a wine.
And with that, we've come to the end of this week's show. Thank you, Sam and Mike, for joining us, and as usual, all their helpful tips and advice.
Thanks, guys. And until next time, please buckle up and keep it safe on the roads and the traffic lights. Stop means